Assalamu Alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli rabbi zidni ilma. How is everyone? Hope that you all are well. Okay, that's wonderful. Today we are going to discuss one more paper, paper 2, that is of October-November 2023. This is the variant 22. The duration of the paper is 1 hour 45 minutes. You have to answer on the question paper. No additional materials are needed for the paper. You have to answer all the questions. You have to use a black or a dark blue pen. You may use an HB pencil in case of drawing of any diagrams. You have to write your name, center number, and candidate number in the boxes given at the top of the page. Write your answer to each question in the space provided. Do not use an erasable pen or correction frame. Please be very cautious. Think before you write down the answer, so there is no need to use an erasable pen. Do not write on any barcodes. Calculators must not be used in the paper. Paper is of 75 marks. The number of marks for each question or part of the question are given in brackets, and there's no mark awarded if you write down the brand name of a software package or hardware. So be very cautious whenever you are answering your questions. Question number 1. Very simple. Tick one box to complete the sentence. Verification is used to make sure that a value entered has not changed during input, is an integer, is correct, is not a string. So just recall very quickly about verification, and definitely you can figure it out that answer for this tick is going to be part A only, has not changed during input. Now, one more thing is, please just answer the questions in the sequence because they are there with some complexity. So once you start questioning in a sequence, inshallah, you will be able to score. A type of validation check is a length check. Another type of validation check is used to make sure that any date entered is in the DD/MM/YYY style. DD means day, MM means month, and YYYY means year. State the type of validation check being used. So definitely, this is the format check. Definitely you know it very well, but still, this is the only check that should come to our mind is format check. Give one example of normal test data and one example of abnormal test data you could use to make sure the check in part A is working properly. Now just recall normal test data and abnormal test data and you should be able to answer, and you have to state a reason why you have chosen this test data. So you have to score correctly. You can score very correctly in case you have answered for the correct test data as well as you have written the reason accurately. For example, just an example, normal 30/12/1960, just an example that is definitely going to be accepted because the data is written in the correct format. So if a student has written the correct example with a valid reason, then definitely he will be able to score full marks in this part. Then moving on to abnormal, 30/December/1960, just an example is written here. Since the month is not written in the correct format, that is why it should be rejected. So if you have written the example correctly and you have written the reason correctly, that the value of month or maybe the date or whatever, the values may change from person to person. One person can write down the date, another person can write down the abnormal month or anything like that. So they will be treated as the right answers. Okay. Yes, Ali, thank you very much. You can even write down, for example, if you had written 33 instead of 30, then definitely if you had written 33/12/1960, then definitely this is also going to be an invalid value or abnormal value because it should be rejected as they cannot go beyond 31 in December. That's correct. Thank you very much. So if you have written the examples properly with the right reason, accepted or rejected, then definitely you will be able to score 4 out of 4. Part C, describe how length check could be used with the date entered. Now, just recall, we have talked about this validation and verification. We have discussed in the class also regarding the date. So date can have format check as well as the length check. So describe how a validation how the length check can be used as a validation for date entered. So there are 2 marks to be scored. And if the student has written, definitely it is dealing with DD/MM/YYYY, means that that is totaling 10 digits, 10 characters. That is why if the student write that, checks that there are 10 characters in total, and he can say if the date is too long or too short, it should be rejected. So in this manner, you can score very easily 2 out of 2 if you have written the reason like this, and if you have mentioned the number of characters that is going beyond the capacity or less than capacity. Again, length check means exactly the same number of characters. So 10 characters in total. The date should neither be too short or too long. Otherwise, it will be rejected. Question number 3. 4 pseudocode statements and 5 pseudocode uses are shown. Draw one link to each pseudocode statement to the most appropriate pseudocode use. Not all pseudocode uses will be required. So here you can see call. By the way, call, color, new color. Yes, definitely it's a procedure. So this is the call statement is used whenever we are calling a procedure. So using a procedure is the right answer. Value, assignment operator, within brackets A1 plus A2 plus A3, brackets closed upon 3. So since you have learned it, this is simple math. It's an average. So finding an average is the right option. Loop equals to loop 1 equals to loop 1 plus 1. So just remember this is what we have learned. No matter which variables are being used, plus 1 and same variable repeated means it's counting. So that is why it is the counting statement. And lastly, if count is greater than 7, then x1 assignment operator 0. Definitely it's a conditional statement. So what is left is totaling. By the way, if I ask you, what is totaling actually? Can you recall? If I just take this example, loop 1, if I say loop 1 equals to loop 1 plus n, so that will be an example of totaling because the same variable written twice plus another variable is called totaling. Correct. Thank you very much. I mean, that's really wonderful that you have not mentioned this value 1 equals assignment operator A1 plus A2 as totaling, because sometimes some students can get confused and this one is not used at all in this whole question. Now the question is 1D array. Not difficult, very easy. A 1D array called temperatures has 25 elements beginning at index 1. It holds values that range between -20 and 100 inclusive. Write a pseudocode algorithm using a single loop to find the lowest value in this array and output the result only once. You do not need to declare or populate this array. So please be very cautious. Read the instructions, what they want, and then attempt it. Now, see, watch how will you score? It's so easy. It's a 4-mark question. So you can very easily score if you have initialized the variable. Remember that we have learned that we have to initialize the variables whenever we are finding the maximum or the minimum. Similarly, you are going to score when you have written the right loop structure to iterate 25 times. Definitely you are performing the minimum value. You're finding out the minimum value. So there will be if needed. And this should be then set to the lowest value. And then you have to output the result only once after the loop. Be very cautious because they had mentioned this thing very clearly that you have to output the result only once. So here they do not want us to write down any instruction for declaring the array at all. And they do not want us to populate the array at all. By the way, populate means inserting some values into the array. So basically, this is what populate means in programming. So just an example program is mentioned, min, arrow, assignment operator 100. Now again, remember, min will be initialized with the maximum something non-attainable abnormal. For count equals to 1 to 25. If temperatures, and be very cautious, you have to use the same array as is used in the question. If temperatures count is less than min, then min equals to temperatures count, and if next count output, the lowest temperature is comma min. So simple, isn't it? 1 mark for initializing, 1 mark for the right loop structure written in the right place, iterating the right number of times, 25 times, use of if properly, output properly, and you are able to score within maximum 5 minutes. But just need practice, that's all. Now, question number 4. An algorithm has been written in pseudocode to allow the names of 50 cities and their countries to be entered and stored in a 2D array. The contents of the array are then output. Now, don't get confused with 2D array. It's basically dealing with names of 50 cities and definitely countries. So there should be 50 rows and 2 columns. First column will hold city name and second column will hold the country name. So simple. Now, this is the pseudocode that you can see here, and they are asking us to identify 4 errors in the pseudocode and suggest corrections. Be very cautious. When this is what I have suggested you. Whenever you are attempting such questions, do not jump to the answer immediately. First of all, figure out all those lines that have an error and then move it later. Declare city array 1:50, 1, 2. Now again, 1:50 means 50 rows and 1:2 means 2 columns. The same as I talked about of Boolean. Declare count integer, declare out integer, count equal to 1 if. Output, enter the name of the city, input city count 2, output, enter the name of the country, input city count 2. Count equals to count plus 1 until count equals to 50. For out equals to 1 to 1, output the city, city out, 1 is in city out, 2. Next out, your algorithm, your pseudocode finishes. Now let's start doing it. The first thing is, as I talked about, that cities and countries definitely, can they be Boolean? Is Boolean data type accurate? Definitely not. That is why you can see it's going to be of string. That is one that you have identified correctly. Thank you very much, Ali. And then move further. It means line number 1 has one error which I found. Then move to line number 2 is correct. Line number 3 is correct. Line number 4, initializing with count equals to 1 is correct. If, by the way, is if feasible here, I have to repeat. Because until is used here, definitely if is not correct. So that is why I identified line number 5 as an error. If it's wrong, it should have been repeat, correct? Thank you very much. Output, enter the name of the city. And this city is going to be as the first value. Remember what I said? It has to be a 2D array. And 2D array first column is going to contain the name of the city. And second column will contain the name of the country. So that is basically a mistake. It should not have been input city count, 2. It should have been city count, 1. Because row number 1, location column number 1. Row number 1, column number 2. Should I explain it? Okay, just a minute. With the help of an array, let's talk about just an example. Just an example, just to make you comprehend, I'm giving this example. We have city here, then we have country here. And this is the first city. This is my first location, first row, and then country is going to be, it's city. For example, if I say Karachi, that is a city, and country is Pakistan. That is going to form 1, 1. First row, first column, first row, second column. That is why city is coming in this location and country is coming in this location. Are you clear? Yes. Okay, that's wonderful. We're moving back to the same where we were. We have understood the 2D array in this manner that it has to contain city in the first column and country in the second column. That's why this is an array, an error. Now, input city, count, comma 2 seems to be correct. Count equals to count plus 1 until count equals to 50. So this seems to be incorrect because then it will iterate not 50 times, it will stop when the 50th value has been reached. And that is why what you can do is, very right, Ahmad, that either you have count equals to 51, or you can say until count greater than 50. So if one student said until count equals to 50, that definitely that is wrong. Until count greater than 50, that is correct. And second student said until count equals to 51, that is also correct. So it means this line also has an error. For out equals to 1 to 1, does it seem correct? Definitely not. 1 to 1 means when there is no need to have a loop at all. So it should have been for out equals to 1 to 50 because you have 50 lines and you want to display all the values together. So this is how you have identified the errors. Line number 1, line number 4, line number 5, line number 7, line number 11, and line number 12. But see, here they have asked me to identify 4 errors. So if you have mentioned any of these four errors, then you are going to definitely score your marks. And again, just for the sake of understanding, the corrected algorithm is also mentioned here, but you are not asked to write down the corrected algorithm. This is just for the purpose of making you comprehend how the right algorithm is going to be written. Because sometimes they do even ask that write down the corrected algorithm also. Okay? That's wonderful. Describe the changes you should make to the corrected algorithm to allow the name of a country to be input and to display only the stored cities from that country. Now see, this is just described. They are not asking us to rewrite the algorithm. Be cautious. If a student has not read this question correctly and he started writing the algorithm, then that means he has not understood the question at all, and that may go against you. 5 marks means that they want you to write down 5 valid points. 1 mark per point, maximum 5. First mark, add an input and prompt to ask for the country to be searched. Now, this is basically a searching algorithm. And first thing is you have to have a message for the user so that he knows what are you asking him to input. And this should be between lines 11 and 12. And you are going to use a new variable for the input. Add an if statement to check if the country array element matches the country that is being searched. And this if will be written between lines 12 and 13. So please be aware that you don't have to mention the if statement or something like that. You have to mention the locations, the places where these lines will be inserted. If it does, allow the output in line 13. The output in line 13 should be after a then. I mean, again, the same thing that we already know. If it does not, check the next element. So this is what we need to know. We need to insert that through a linear search, we are going to find all those locations, all those values that have the required country. Isn't it easy? Okay. Now, a very easy question. Explain how variables and constants should be used when creating and running a program. So simple. It's a 3-mark question. 1 mark per mark point, maximum 3. Variables and constants should have meaningful names. Now, this is what we can see. It's a little bit different from what came to your mind, Ali, that here they're asking us that what should be used when creating and running a program. So that the programmer or future programmers are able to understand their purpose. I mean, every variable should have a meaningful name. They are both used for data storage. Constants store values that never change during the execution of a program, and you can mention any example, like you can say value-added tax, VAT, that is declared as a constant. You can say zakat percentage as a constant. you mentioned the value of pi as a constant. So here, if you're mentioning the example, that will be a very better answer. That will be treated as a good answer. Variables contain value that have been calculated within the program. Definitely a student can write this or can change during the execution of the program. Again, you can mention, like, for example, storing the student's name by using a student name. That's perfectly okay. You can mention any examples and you'll be able to score 3 out of 3. But be cautious that it should be 3 valid points. Flowchart represents an algorithm that performs a process on groups of value that are input. The algorithm will fail if the first value of any group is 0. An input of -1 will terminate the program. Now, again, thank you very much, Adi. This has struck your mind immediately that -1 is the rogue value, ROGUE. Now, this is my flowchart. Let's understand the flowchart and then we'll solve it. It starts with start, then a variable total equals to 0, then count equals to 0, input value, is value equals to 0? Yes. Calculate average, output average, and then move back. It's a loop. Is value equals to -1? Yes. Stop. -1 is finishing the program. Otherwise, if that is not the case, then it's going to move here. The total equals to total plus value, and count equals to count plus 1. By the way, this is the line that is indicating the totaling process, and this box is indicating the counting process. Now, after this, you are moving back to the next input, and in this manner, the loop will continue. Now, let's move on to the values. Complete the trace table for the input data. Now, the input data is given here. Just for the purpose of making you comprehend, I've color-coded it to make you comprehend. Start, total 0, count 0. You can see total 0, count 0. Input value, 25, goes in this column. Is value 0? No. Is value -1? No. Total equals to total plus value. So you can see here, variable total, which was earlier holding 0, will have now 0 plus 25 makes 25. Count increased by 1. The count value from 0 became 1. Move back. Next value input, 35, you can see. Again, same checks are performed. Not 0, not -1. Move down. The total is in again. Total plus value means the earlier value was 25 plus 35 makes it 60. In this manner, it moves up again. The next value 3 is input. Then it's going to be 3 again, passed through all these two stages. Total increased. Total is again added. 60 plus 3 makes it 63. And the value of count is also increased definitely. And then it moved up. Input value, 25, 35, 3 are done. Now it's the turn of 0. Input value 0, yes. It means average is calculated. Average equals to total upon count. So total is 63 at the moment. Count is going to be 3. 63 upon 3 is 21. So in this case, you are going to leave every single thing here, and you only are going to write down the average value here, 21. Then be very cautious. Total is a space, comma, total. Total is 63. Please remember this comma is separating a message and the variable, and this comma will not appear here. So simply you will have total is 63. Then next is output, average is average. So in the next, you can write down average is and 21. In this manner, you have actually finished the 1-1-1 stage. And now it will move upward once again with the values initialized. Please be cautious. You will just follow the path, and the value of total will be reinitialized, will be 0 here, 0 here for count, and then you will start the same process for the next set of data, which is 37 goes here, 20 goes here, 25 goes here, 18 goes here, and 0 goes here. And differently, the same process repeated, 57 plus 20, 77, then 77 plus 25, 102, 102 plus 18 is 120. 4 times the count value has increased, it's going to be 4. Again, 0 encountered, the value of average will be calculated. once again, and remember the earlier value is no more there. I'm going to be very cautious that whatever you are doing, that should be done with a lot of caution because no calculator is allowed. 120 divided by 4 is 30. Again, the same process, total is 120, average is 30, and you are done with the second set. Now, again total 0, then again count 0, and the next input is taken. And the next input is -1. So -1 will terminate the loop. Please be cautious. You will not continue the process further because as soon the value of the variable value is -1, the loop will terminate. So in this case, the rest of the three values will not be entertained at all, will not be actually be a part of the process at all. So they have just tricked us by giving us these values, which will never be a part of our trace table. Understood? You have done it accurately. You have mentioned each and every column properly. You will definitely score 5 out of 5. See, so simple. Just need a little time. And the values are also very simple, isn't it? Okay. Describe the purpose of the algorithm. To add together or find the average of a batch of numbers. The total and average are output. Definitely once the batch is complete, the value of 0 is going to terminate the batch process. And then we are going to display or output the values of total and average. When 0 is entered, the new batch is started. I mean, a student can write down any of these points, any of these 2 points, and he will be able to score 2 out of 2. Any questions? Okay, that's wonderful. Question number 7. The string operation substring quote, comma, start, comma, number returns a string from quote. This is my first parameter, beginning at position start, that is number characters long. The first character in quote is in position 1. So they have just made our life easy by mentioning that starting with position 1. Write pseudocode statements to store the string. Learning never exhausts the mind in quote. Extract and display the words the mind from the string. Output the original string in lowercase. So this is what I am supposed to do. And what I will do is, now there you can see the marking points. Storing string in quote, correct assignment for start, correct assignment for number, use of substring function in the right order. The first parameter as quote or equivalent plus 2 other parameters, and use of lcase function, and you have to give the 2 correct outputs. So it's a 5-mark question, but if you have mentioned any of these 5 points, then definitely you will be able to score. Just an example, quote, arrow, learning never exhausts the mind. Start is, now they wanted me to extract and display the words the mind. So just see the mind is starting from here. So you need to know what is the start value. Start is 25. And here, how many characters do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my number of characters is 8. So then I have to mention the right start value, counting the spaces also, please do not forget, and the number and then output in the right order. And then you can simply output lcase of quote. This was the requirement. Output the original string in lowercase, original string, not the converted string, not the one that is extracted. So in this case, you will be very easily able to score 5 out of 5 in hardly 2 to 3 minutes. See, so simple. But for that, you should have practiced this substring function very well. So still, if there is anyone who is confused, please do watch the video that deals with string handling, a very short video that is going to make you comprehend the working of substring and lcase and other string functions. Explain why a programmer, now see, explain why a programmer would use procedures and parameters when writing a program. Why do we use parameters? Why do we use procedures? Just recall, we have discussed it in the class. We have even made procedures also. 1 mark per mark point, maximum 4, because it's a 4-mark question. To enable now, why do we make procedures? Why do we use them? It enables the programmer to write a collection of programming statements under a single identifier. And it allows modular programs to be created It allows procedures to be, it's simple. It allows procedures to be reused within the same program or in other programs. Like, remember, we have talked about the star procedure. Star procedure that was used to display stars. Remember, we have talked about it in the class also. And the procedure discussion also, we have talked about the same. Okay, that's wonderful, Ali. To make program creation faster, because procedures can be reused, and it enables different programmers to work on different procedures in the same project. To make programs shorter, using less duplication of code, and it is going to make programs easier to maintain due to being shorter. So a student can write any statement that deals with the same concept, that this is going to make the program shorter because you are reducing to rewrite the same program code repeatedly. And what now? This is going to be for just scoring 3 procedures. For 3 you can mention. And then parameters. What are parameters? To pass values from the main program to a procedure or function so that they can be used in the procedure or the function. And remember, the biggest advantage of parameters is it allows a procedure or function to be reused with different data. The same example, star, was called by using 7. The same star was called by calling with value of 3. The same star was called with the value of 10. So you can see the same procedure star was called with different data. So that is the advantage of using procedures and parameters. Any questions? See, again, it's an explanation. You only have to write down in the proper manner and you will be easily able to score 4 out of 4. Now your favorite. Consider the logic expression Z equals to A NAND B or not B XOR C. Draw a logic circuit. For this logic expression, each logic gate must have a maximum of 2 inputs. Now, be very cautious. Do not simplify the logic expression. 1 mark for each correct gate with the correct inputs as shown. Now, this is what is the thing. A NAND B. You can see A NAND B. And then it is sent to the OR gate. And then we have B XOR C, which is then knotted. And then it is sent to the OR gate. So if you have drawn this accurately, B XOR C is drawn first, its outcome is not, and then the result is going to the OR gate, you will definitely be able to score 4 out of 4. So there's 1 mark for each correct gate with the correct lines, with the correct inputs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Complete the truth table. Now, for simplicity, what is done here? A NAND B, just like this. Then next we have done B XOR C. Then we have knotted the value for this one, and then the last value Z is calculated by performing the OR operation. So just see for yourself. A and B means columns A and B are considered, and this is the answer. 0, 0 is a 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1 is a 1, 0, 1 is a 1, 1, 0 is a 1, 1, 0 is a 1, 1, 1 is a 0, and 1, 1 is a 0 for A and B. Then B XOR C, we have taken these two into account, B and C columns. 0, 0 is a 0, same inputs. 0, 1 is a 1, 1, 0 is a 1, 1, 1, same is a 0, 0, 0 is a 0, same because of this. 0, 1 opposite a 1, 1, 0 opposite a 1, and 1, 1 same is a 0. XOR is working in such a manner, opposites are going to give the value of 1, and same is going to give you the value of 0. Now what are we doing is we are simply performing the NOT operation on what we have figured right now, and we are just inverting. 0 becomes a 1, 1 becomes a 0, 1 becomes a 0, 0 becomes a 1, 0 becomes a 1, 1 becomes a 0, 1 becomes a 0, 0 becomes 1. And then the last one is my Z, which is basically the operation between A and B, or this one. 1 or 1 a 1, 1 or 0 a 1, 1 or 0 a 1, 1 or 1 a 1, 1 or 1 a 1, 1 or 0 a 1, 0 or 0 is a 0, and 0 or 1 is a 1. So my final answer is obtained in this manner. Please do not forget to use the working space. Just write, draw lines, mention, you can label them as the way we have learned A, D, D, E, F, etc. Whatever you find easy, please do it and do not forget to mention it here also, so that the examiner is aware how you have done the work. Okay, and again, see 4 marks for 8 correct outputs, 3 marks for 6 or 7 correct outputs, 2 marks for 4 or 5 correct outputs, 1 mark for 2 or 3 correct outputs. So be very cautious. You need to write down all the answers correctly to score full marks. The last question. A database table called horses stores details about the horses kept at a horse sanctuary. Now these are your values here. Question number 1. A part. State the number of records in this database table. Now let's start counting. Should I include this line? No, that's good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Again, the way I've told you, you can mention the values like this and you will be able to get the right answer for the number of records in the database table, which is 18. 1. Give the name of the field that is most suitable to be the primary key. State the reason for this choice. Definitely it's code, none other than code. Reason, each entry in this field is a unique identifier. Or you can say every single horse is identified by unique value. Okay, the database only allows the data types, Boolean, character, datetime, integer, real, text. Complete the table to show the most appropriate data type for each field. Each type must be different. Be cautious. Breed. Looking at the table, we can see breed. Just look at breed, breed origin, gender, age, arrived. These are the fields, code, all combination of letters and numbers. Breed is again letters. Breed origin is also letters. Gender is M or F. Age is a digit, and arrived is a date. Now, by the way, can I say M or F means a Boolean value? That's wonderful, Ellie, that you have remembered that Boolean means a data type that has 2 values, which are yes or no only. So do not think if it's 2 values, it is going to be Boolean. Please be very, very cautious about it. Now let's see what the questions are. Breed, text. Gender is going to be Boolean. Is it correct? It should be char. Character. Age, integer. Arrived is date and time. Is Boolean correct? Gender, that's wonderful. It should have been character because it's holding the value M or F. That was just there to trick you, Ali. Age containing digits, that's why it's integer. Arrived is date and time. Complete the SQL to return the code and breed of all the horses whose breed originated in Scotland. So there were a few blanks. There was a blank here. So definitely you remember select is going to be the beginning. Select code, comma, breed from horses where breed origin equals to Scotland. So by the way, it's written here with some spaces, but it may happen that you are given the whole area and you are supposed to write down the whole select query yourself. So no worries, you can just do it. That's what we have learned and we know how to do it. Just remember, select from, and then if you want to filter out, then will be done through where clause, and do not forget to put the semicolon in the end, just like the full stop in the statements to finish your sentence. That ends the whole paper. Is it easy? Yes, that's wonderful. So inshallah, as far as scenario-based question is concerned, definitely we'll have another class which will in which we will discuss the scenario-based question. So if you have liked the whole process, please Subscribe the channel, share it with your friends and family so that they all are aware, they all are going to benefit from it, and they all are going to learn. Allah Hafiz.